but we love each other. No. And God, oh my gosh, she's so annoying. Oh God, now I just forgot her freaking name. Oh my God, the fucking girl. I fucking hate it. I hate it so much. Well, hello. Welcome back to my channel. Joshana here to talk about some friggin' books that I have read recently, or DNF'd recently. As per usual, there are several DNFs in here, and I actually have quite a list as per usual. I might break this up, but I might just do it all in one fell swoop, depending on how fucking chatty I am. The first one is Yumi and the Nightmare Painter by Brandon Sanderson. This was a DNF. I stopped at 15% with this one. And the only reason I picked this one up is just, no one like recommended it to me, no. But hearing some people talk about it, and like Elle was talking about it, obviously, Elliot Brooks, and just some of the stuff that I heard, I was like, you know, maybe that one? Like, maybe that could be a Brando Sando that I vibe with, I don't know. I have had Elle especially, but Roger also, several people recommend Warbreaker. They think that like out of Brandon Sanderson's, you know, catalog, that Warbreaker is one that I will personally probably really vibe with. I just keep not picking it up. But I tried this one and I was actually getting really into it in the beginning, like in the first like 20, 30 pages or so. I have only read Mistborn, the original trilogy, but I am familiar with the Cosmere. Like, I have enough friends on booktube who love Brandon Sanderson, and enough people talk about Brandon Sanderson that I'm aware of the concept of his Cosmere. Like, all these books set in different worlds, I think different dimensions, like different times, etc. And that there's the concept of, I can't remember, is it called? I can't remember what it's called, but how they pop into different worlds. Editing Joshana here, just absolutely dying, watching myself forget World Hoppers, which is the name of the channel. I'm a co-founder and collaborator and help like run. Literally the name of the channel is World Hoppers, and I forgot that that's what they're called. That's what that's from. Which I knew already. It completely went out of my brain entirely until doing a second round of editing on this video. So, and I'm familiar with Hoyd specifically as a character who's kind of a minor side background character, but in a lot of these books. Like, he pops up throughout the Cosmere here and there, I guess. So I was aware of that going into this, that this was a Cosmere book and that there might be some of that. And in the beginning, I was kind of finding Hoyd's interjections, because he's kind of narrating parts of the story, and then we get the two main characters' points of view. And I was kind of enjoying his interjections. I was finding him amusing, pretty funny. All of that was enjoyable in the beginning, despite the fact that I obviously have no idea like about the Easter eggs that were being mentioned. But then as I went on, I just kind of started to lose interest for some reason. I wasn't getting connected to the characters. And maybe I was just being impatient, likely, but I was getting frustrated with no explanation whatsoever of why we're so terrified of the nightmares. And Yumi specifically, and other people like her who can like call from the spirits or call on the spirits, when it seemed like the spirits would just kind of come forth to whoever did the proper ritual. Like, I don't know, when we're introducing this like spiritual leader, like guru type character, what makes her so special? You tell me she's special, she was born special, but I didn't really feel like there was much of she just got trained to do these rituals and she can call the spirits forth. But I'm like, is there actually something about her where only she and other people like her can do that? Like, I don't know. Maybe I was being impatient because I only got 15% in, but I feel like that's a pretty integral part of this character. You're explaining all this other shit. You're explaining all the rituals in excruciating detail. Why not just, oh, this is what makes her so special specifically? I don't know. And then I also did start to be kind of annoyed with the Easter eggs. And I mean, I knew it was a Cosmere book going into it. Sometimes, though, you can read a book where you're not going to catch the Easter eggs, but it doesn't really hinder your enjoyment of the story. And I just feel like the way it was done in this book, it was like you know it's an Easter egg that you're missing. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I personally, and I'm very biased, I will admit, but like Michael J. Sullivan, The World of Elon, there are Easter eggs all throughout. But I personally feel like if you haven't read the other stuff, you won't even know that what you're reading is an Easter egg. Like, you won't be aware that, oh, this is something I don't know. You just, oh, that's part of the story, And then later when you read the other stuff, you're like, oh my God, that's a thing from the other thing. And I enjoy that kind of Easter egg placement way more. Whereas in this, it was very obvious, like things were being referenced and I'm like, I don't know what you're fucking talking about. Okay. And it just kind of started to get a little bit annoying. And then Hoyd stopped being quite so amusing to me. Like his interjections stopped being quite so amusing. And they just kind of became tedious and like, I don't know what you're talking about. Which that in and of itself maybe isn't the book's fault. I'm not familiar with all these things. But like I said, I just don't love it when Easter eggs are done that way. So I decided to give up. Then I picked up and actually fully read The Bone Shard Daughter by Andrea Stewart. This is a completed trilogy now. There's The Bone Shard Daughter, Bone Shard Emperor, and Bone Shard War. So many people really love this trilogy. It's epic fantasy. We have something called bone shard magic where certain people, the Emperor and his family, like they know how to take a shard of your bone, of someone's bone, and use that to create constructs. Basically like Frankensteined together creatures that can become kind of sentient and that you can put instructions on the bones to basically have them obey certain people or pay attention to certain things, be spies, like be really good at math or whatever, like different skills and abilities and personality traits kind of to give to them and instructions basically. And you put it in the bone and you put it in the construct and then they are like little robots, but made of like creatures and stuff put together. We follow Lynn, who is the Emperor's daughter, who's kind of locked away in the palace and is pitted against her dad's like adopted son, basically, to like become the heir. And then the other character, what was their freaking name? Felu. Yeah, Felu was the daughter of a governor of a different, it's like an island country, of a different island. Felu is the very privileged, but very like, I just go around and flirt with everyone and like live my silly little life character. She's in a relationship with a commoner woman. And then we have Jovis. He is this guy who's kind of like a smuggler and he's on this island when it like all hell breaks loose. There's like a tragedy, a huge, massive tragedy that happens. He escapes the island and with this little kid and this little creature called Mephilusa is the full name, I think, but they call it Mephi, and Mephi is so cute. Oh my God. Basically, Jovis gets unwittingly thrown into like smuggling children out of these rituals where they get their bone shard taken out of their skull, and some of them die from this. And when your bone shard gets used in a construct, it drains the life out of you. So nobody wants this bone shard shit happening. So it's very bad. Nobody wants it. So he starts basically taking kids out of these rituals and getting them back to their families. And he doesn't really want to be doing this. And there's like folk songs singing of his heroics. And he's just trying to find his wife, who was kidnapped like 8 years ago, if I remember correctly. And he's just been on a mission to try and find her and figure out where the hell she is. So for the first like 30 to 40% of this, honestly, I was kind of like, this is fine. I wasn't loving too much about it. I did really like Jovis right from the start and Mephi. I love Mephi. And the one character, oh God, now I just forgot her freaking name. Oh my God, the fucking girl. The Emperor's daughter. What is your, I just said it. Lynn, the Emperor's daughter. She was fine too. That was all cool. But oh my God, Felu is incredibly annoying to me. She's the character that's the daughter of a governor. Felu and Renami, I did not like their relationship at all, ever. It makes no sense to me. They are completely incompatible at like a core fucking level, and it irritates me, this idea of like love will conquer all. Like, I'm still a hopeless romantic at heart. I really am, like genuinely. But I'm past the point of thinking that like all you need is love and love conquers all. Like compatibility matters. And these two characters had zero genuine compatibility, aside from like, we have fun together sometimes. And I think she's hot. Like, okay. Their core beliefs were so wildly different. And it was driving me crazy. And they were very toxic too. And like, Feilu was just such a spoiled, privileged idiot. She, like, Ranami was kind of like about this rebellion and like, people can't keep living like this, how the emperor treats us with this bone shard shit, blah, blah, blah. And like, the farmers on their island were being very mistreated and like overtaxed and just overworked and whatever. And Feilu was just like, well, they should work harder if they don't like their life. Like, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. My dad isn't doing anything crazy. Like, they just need to work hard if they really care and want to better their lives. And I'm like, if you are someone who has these very progressive beliefs and like, you know, this oppression of the people is wrong, you would not date someone who said shit like that. It's like some super liberal, progressive person going and dating a super far extremist right-wing person and being like, but we love each other. No, it's not romantic. I don't think it's romantic at all. Lynn's chapters got more intriguing as it went on. Like, we were learning some very interesting things. And I was like, wait, what is going on here with this bone shard magic and what's going on with the emperor? And what's going on with her not having her memories. And things were unraveling slowly, and it definitely got more intriguing as it went on. Overall, toward the last half of the book, my interest was absolutely heightened and peaked. And by the end of it, I was like, okay, I'll pick up the next book for sure and check it out. But I still wasn't madly in love with this because of mostly Feilu and Ranami, but also the fact that I just didn't get super duper gripped by the story or the characters. So I ended up giving this one 3.5 stars, which is like solid for me. That's a solid rating. That's higher than meh. That's definitely higher than average, but I just didn't quite like love it, you know? It's out there, so I'm not gonna grab it. But then I reread City of Girls by Elizabeth Gilbert. I think this is my 5th or 6th time reading it. I listened to the audio this time, which I had listened to part of the audio before a couple years ago when I was getting the beginning of my tattoo, which I am going to be finishing soon. Fucking finally. And like during that tattoo session, I was like listening to it, but then I never finished the audiobook. And it's a very solid audiobook. I really, really enjoyed the narrator. And I mean, I just love it. I fucking love it. I'm going to do a whole video, a new kind of updated review of it at some point, but like a very in-depth one, like going through like spoilery shit. And going through like lines that I love and just really diving into the many ways in which I love this book. And we're basically just following this very privileged WASP girl. And yeah, she just has a very privileged, sheltered life. She's just kind of flailing. She gets kicked out of college and her parents don't know what to do with her. So they're like, go hang out with your Aunt Peg in New York. So she goes, and her Aunt Peg is the owner of this very rundown playhouse, theater, very off-Broadway. But it's just the first half of the book is like her year living there and just all the shenanigans she gets into, the fun she has, like going wild, kind of coming of age type of stuff. And then there is an inciting incident that happens. And then the rest of the book is the rest of her life, kind of just narrating what happens and during the war, what she's doing, and then as she gets older, where her life goes and what she ends up doing with her life. And the whole point of the book, the premise is basically a young woman writes to her saying, hey, can you tell me what you meant to my father? He's, you know, now that my mother has passed away, my father passed away years ago, you know that, but my mom passed away. Can you tell me what you were to him? Because I don't really know, and I'm confused by your relationship. And this main character is saying, I can't tell you what I was to him, but I can tell you what he was to me. And then it's just her telling her life story and how he fits into it. And I love it. I love it so much. The messages, the theme of like female coming of age, freedom, learning your freedom and learning your independence and getting your voice and just like getting comfortable with yourself. Learning how to be comfortable with yourself and in who you are. And growing up, like maturing, growing out of your very young, idiotic, immature ways of thinking and ways of being. And I just love so much about it. So 5 stars, obviously. This book will forever be 5 stars, I think. Then I picked up Before the Devil Breaks You by Libba Bray, book 3 of the Diviners Quartet. And okay, so I won't tell you the plot of this one specifically, but the Diviners is basically just set in 1920s, like Prohibition era Manhattan. I find that I really love the like 20s, 30s, 40s Manhattan vibes in stories. But at any rate, and it's very like occult, it's young adult. We have several main characters that we're following, doing various things, and they are all diviners. They have some kind of supernatural ability, basically. And horror, for sure, like book 1 and 2, especially, like, scary. Genuinely, like, parts of it were very, very fucking scary. And parts of this one, too. But that's the overall, like, premise of that first book and the series overall. The pacing in this one was a little bit off for me. Several points felt kind of like they were dragging a fair amount. Like, I think it was overly long. Also, oh my God, I know she's a literal teenager, okay? But Mabel is so, like, Mabel's so annoying to me, so annoying. And like, I suppose that her behavior and thought processes do make sense for, you know, literally, she's an immature child. She's an immature teenager. But it just, especially in this book, it was not enjoyable to read her chapters or her scenes. In the first 2 books, I feel like it was less annoying, but like she still had moments where I was like, all right, girl, shut up. But in this one, we had way more chapters following her. She was really trying to like go out on her own. And God, oh my God, she's so annoying. She literally only wants to like do good things to get attention and to someone to notice me. Like that is her core motivation for everything she does, is like, I'm always the wallflower. Nobody pays attention to me. And I get like that desire for sure, but it's the only thing that drives her. And it's like, girl, you got to think about other shit too, not just, I want attention. Someone's noticed. And like, God, she just caves at the first sign of any attention. Like some dude will give her any notice and she's like, okay, whatever you say. It's like, oh my God, you're so annoying. And it's not that I don't think she's actually a good person, because I do think she is actually a good person. But the immaturity of how she makes decisions, all of her decisions, completely based on getting attention and getting noticed and feeling special, is just, it grates on my fucking nerves. Also, there's like several like love triangle. Are there several? Like kind of several love triangles that go on throughout the series. And I don't think it's particularly spoilery. I don't know. Whatever. I don't know. Mabel likes this guy Jericho, and Evie, her best friend, who's another main character, is trying to get her to like get with Jericho in the beginning, but then it very quickly you see that like Jericho is not interested in Mabel at all, and Jericho ends up kind of starting to like Evie. Evie is a very effervescent, flighty, just have fun and fly by the seat of my pants and like open and just open to everything type of character. The type of character that it's very easy for other characters to like fall for. And there's another guy, another main character that also likes Evie, and that like she kind of thinks she might like, but she doesn't know, and like, whatever, okay? So there's this little mess going on here. And I've just never understood the Evie and Jericho, even like the idea of them as a pair. I don't understand it at all. I get it from his side, again, because Evie is just full of personality. She's bubbly, she's exciting, she lives her life very bravely and like openly and just open to anything. And Jericho's very like closed off, man. So I get him liking her, but I don't understand why I'm supposed to believe that she would feel any deep romantic pining for this guy. I don't understand it. And I'm realizing that I don't enjoy a romance that is based off of, we both have darkness in our souls, and therefore this must be love. We must have a very deep, special connection because we both realize that we both have some darkness to us. Like most people have a bit of darkness inside of them. Some secret past action, some secret thoughts, secret desires you have. And like that in and of itself should not equate to you're in love. If you love every single person that shows you they've got a little bit of darkness in them, you're gonna fall in love with every single person you have any kind of actual conversation with and like deeper conversation with. I just don't buy this as the foundation for, I feel such a connection to him. Like friendship, sure, you know, feeling like, oh, we have something in common, but like just this one thing in common. I've never like bought into romances that are just hinged on this. Like we talked once and realized that we both have secrets. So we have a special bond. No, you don't. No, you fucking don't. And then there's another character in this series that is doing something, and it's pretty much from the get-go. I guess I won't give names just in case, but this whole thing, this is something, a trope, a tactic that I've talked about before that I don't like. When characters have powers that are a little scary and like powers that can be dangerous, and maybe because they don't have control of these powers has been dangerous before, like they've hurt someone accidentally before because of their uncontrolled powers, okay? I understand that it's scary, but the idea of like, I have powers that are scary, and instead of learning how to control these powers safely, I'm just gonna cover my eyes and ears and pretend like I don't have these powers and ignore them and hope it goes away, even though I know it's not gonna go away and it'll just continue being dangerous, that it's uncontrolled, but I don't wanna try to learn how to control it because it's scary. I fucking hate it. I hate it so much. And when it's dragged on for several books, my patience wears very thin with it. So yeah, I still love most of these characters. I really do. Like Memphis and Theta, Evie, Sam, what's the guy's name? Dubois. Henry. I love Henry. And the other girl, Ling. I really like all of them. I really do. And I'm still intrigued with the overall plot, for sure. I'm going to read the last book. I'm not like, I'm DNFing the series or anything. I didn't hate this book by any means, but it's my least favorite so far in the series, for sure. I gave it 3.5 stars, so again, still a solid rating. I did not hate it, but I did not like it as much as the other two, the first two. Okay, I've already been talking for 30 minutes, so I will only talk about one more, and I'll break this up with a second video with the rest of them. The next one, though, was a nonfiction collection of essays called Light in Gaza, Writings Born of Fire, by Jihad Abusalim, Jennifer Bing, and Mike Merriman Lotzi. I think they were the editors and the ones that put it together, I believe. And this one I got for free from, the publisher. Yeah, Haymarket Books. They were, I don't know if they're still offering it. I will try to find it. It was this one and several others on ebook they were offering for free. And I picked it up. It was a shorter one. And I highly recommend. It was very illuminating, like the stories about what life in Gaza has been like and is. Some sections were way more like academic and intensive than I expected, like the historical stuff that's going on, which is useful and informative for sure. But I did prefer the personal essay style sections more. I think also because I started at the same time and I'm finishing up The Ethnic Cleansing of Palestine by Ilan Pape, which is nonfiction and very academic. So I think maybe I was just like, okay, I'm already getting that from this. From this, I just kind of want these personal essays. Like I'm really enjoying that part. But again, those more academic portions are still important and informative. But yeah, I mean, it's obviously very sad in parts and like I said, illuminating, and it's just sad. It's just fucking sad. But there were parts too that it wasn't just all sad. Like there were parts just showing like the normalcy that people try to have in their lives, and still even amongst the sad parts, like the joy of the family and the community and those relationships, right? But it's very, very illuminating. I would definitely recommend this book. So again, if I'll try to figure out if they still have that like deal going on, and if so, I will link it below. But even if they don't, try to get a copy of this, Kindle, whatever, because I think it's worthwhile. And as always, in my link tree, there are links for charitable donations and things for different causes, one of which is for aid on the ground in Gaza. So And okay, that is where I will end this one, and I'll pick it up in the next a few reviews that I do. Let me know if you have read any of these and if you enjoyed them. Are you surprised at all by my DNF of Yumi and the Nightmare Painter? I bet probably nobody is who's been here for a hot minute, because you know I don't really read Brandon Sanderson. I keep thinking that at some point I want to try Way of Kings and that whole thing. The Stormlight Archives. But I don't know, it's so daunting. It's so long. Each book is so long, and I just don't know if I care. Anyway, as always, thank you so much for your time. Hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.